YouTube. I hope you're ready for another collection update because that's what you're getting from me. I don't know what it is. Tonight I'm all about my hands. All about expressing myself with my hands. So, 10 albums, if I counted right. My additions to my collection are in such fucking disarray. Ever since I shot that like 50-minute long collection update where I talked about 100 albums, and I've been like redoing them 10 at a time. So some of these I've got back in as far back as April. So yeah, I don't know what you have to gain by understanding when I bought these, but whatever. You're gonna love it, fella. So I was pretty excited to pick this up. I was in, where was I? Oshkosh, Wisconsin back in April. And there was a store closing, and they had everything like 20-50% off, something like that. So decided to pick up the new one from Funeral called Presentialism in Eternum. Season of Mist. I'm not sure when the last time these guys put out an album was. I'm not very good at keeping tabs on these guys. There's a couple of their albums that I have on my wish list that are always really expensive, and I'd love to get them, but I'm not super familiar with other releases. This one, either I wasn't in the mood, or it's not very good, or it's boring. I don't know. Wasn't feeling it. I gave it a solid listen through, gave it my full attention, and they just never won me over. There were tolerable parts. Sure, it's probably been a while since I was in a real doom mood, and maybe come fall I'll put this on and the magic will ensorcel me into its arms, but there was one part where, okay, like maybe 3 or 4 tracks in, I was like, just not feeling this. I can't really put my finger on what's wrong with it. But then there was this palm mute chunk riff that just rubbed me the wrong way entirely. Like, I cannot stand shit like that. It was very just like prototypical modern doom, and Funeral are better than that as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, maybe I'll come back around to it sometime, but we'll see. Funny how I'm starting off the video with a real pooper. So let's talk about what is not poop, shall we? And by the way, what's playing behind me, we will get to at the end. So I can't really remember what triggered this phase of my listening, but I really went hard. Actually, yeah, I can. I really went hard on a treble phase. I've always been a skull guy. I've had the skull for maybe 15 years or so, and I love it. It's a masterpiece of an album, but I've never really spent a lot of my attention on their other albums. Apart from this one, the other self-titled record. God, you're a shiny sumbitch, ain't you? I've had this on my phone off and on over the years and really liked it, but there was just something about it. It was just a little too dated or 90s or something for me to like really love it. There's a little less shiny picture of it. So when I found this in a cutout bin at that store that was closing, I picked it up. And that was when I fell so hard for the other treble albums. So this thing, it's so goddamn good. They did such a tremendous job. Well, Rick Rubin did such a tremendous job, I think, taking these guys out of the Chicago streets, if you will, and turning them into a real talented studio big name band. I wouldn't like give Rick Rubin much credit for a whole lot, but I gotta say that like the difference between this record and the others is pretty remarkable. They've got this real dry, kind of dirty sound that you know Rick Rubin gets from a lot of bands. So it kind of sounds quite a bit like your Danzig albums. What am I? I don't fucking listen to Danzig. What do I know? But man, this thing is so great. Sing-along tracks. Every fucking song on here is a banger. You'll be just pumping your fist, pounding your steering wheel to these choruses. Black Shapes of Doom. It's great. There's a lot of diversity and kind of like sorrowful, mournful kind of moments. And Eric Wagner was just a goddamn legend of a singer. I had this funny like skit planned out where I was going to make fun of Wagner for dying of COVID and whatnot, but man, what a bummer. Dude was super. Just this guy is one of the more memorable, noteworthy metal singers their metal will ever have. Dude deserves credit all day. So that is their 4th album, if I'm not mistaken. So I wound up picking up Psalm 9, debut, another shiny Hammerheart reissue. These things are pretty cool. Like, I don't ordinarily like these sleeves, but you know, they're different enough that that's kind of cool. Whatever. Psalm 9, I want to say, is their debut. Yeah. And this record rules. I'm kind of surprised after having loved The Skull for so long that they have so many other as good as The Skull albums as they do. This thing rips. A lot of people, I think, categorize Trouble as like proto-Doom, early Doom, and I just kind of feel like that's not a very helpful descriptor of them. I wouldn't necessarily say that they didn't influence Doom, but I don't think that just because they influenced Doom that they are a Doom band. I want to say that they're really just a traditional metal band who have some slower parts that are really, really, really heavy. When I think of Doom, I think of something like this, really, really trudgingly slow, and there's nothing like that on here. It's way more traditional heavy metal than Doom or stoner, really, to me. But another one, like so many just iconic metal riffs are on here. I don't ordinarily get so hard for your trad metal kind of stuff, but man, Trouble were just phenomenal. One stinker, maybe this album just isn't quite as good as the other 3, The Skull, Psalm 9, and Self-Titled. This is Run to the Light. I want to say it's their 2nd album, so I don't really know how the discography went in such a weird direction, but I wasn't feeling this one. I can't really remember what it was that turned me off from this thing. Kind of an OG press there. But, I spent seriously 4 solid weeks listening to pretty much nothing but Trouble, and then Warlord, and then Omen. I've had some really weird phases lately. But so, after spending so much time enjoying the really, really good Trouble albums, a couple of spins on this one, and I didn't want to dislike any of their albums, so I just kind of moved on. Like I said, I don't know, what am I missing on that? I don't know. It just didn't come off as, it maybe came off as a little too contrived to me, I guess. I'm so picky. Such a picky bastard. I can't remember who, but it was one of my YouTube commenters who's been, I think, suggesting this album to me maybe once or twice over the years. And I've always meant to pick up something from this band and kind of never knew where to start. So I appreciated that comment. Whoever you are, I'm sorry I'm forgetting who it is. But I finally picked up Nacht Updaaaaate album. This is a German kind of folk doom kind of band. They're really all over the place, and they're really, really talented and good. They've really got a lot to offer. They bring a lot to the table. But they've got their feet mostly firmly planted in kind of like a late 90s doom kind of deal. The album's called Nectar. A bunch of German stuff. I'm sure you can figure it out. I'll put a link down below. You can check this out. It's really, really good. This is a spot-on recommendation. I wish I would have spent more time with it before moving on to something else, but I've been buying stuff. Look, guys, I have a problem. I have a sickness in the head where I buy too many fucking albums. There's some band that these guys remind me quite a bit of that I don't like, that a lot of people do like, and I felt like saying that this sounds like them. Tell you what, when I figure it out, I'll put it right here. But I feel like this is a better version of that band. Nectar Updaaaaate. So, like, where do I go next with their discography? Let me know. Pick this up in that cutout bin also, just like based on the fact that it was on Vic Records. It's a reissue of an old death metal album. I had never heard of Truncation until I picked this up. I'm a little surprised that I've never seen this anywhere. I've honestly not a single shred have I ever heard of this Truncation, the callous concept. Now this is most definitely one of the most forgettable album covers I have ever laid eyes on. So it's really cool that they put the same fucking thing on the disc, isn't it? How wonderful. If I'm not mistaken, Truncation were a Dutch death metal band, and I'm gonna cheat here. 1995 is when this was recorded, so it's not necessarily like a old school death metal album, although this does have, I think, some demo. No, I think this is just an album with 2 live tracks, but this thing is wild. You gotta check this out. It is abrasive, just scattershot weirdness. There's a lot of like dissonant parts. There's a lot of weird rhythmic, kind of tricky technical kind of things. A lot of things I think where like in their day this would have been considered like a lot of bad ideas. But I think things like this are worth going back and enjoying because of how weird they are. So I gotta recommend this quite a bit. I spun this quite a bit actually. Look at these crazy boys. So yeah, I don't know. Vic Records puts out a ton of great stuff. If you've ever seen Vic Records on the back of a CD, I think you're pretty well set on picking that up. So I also picked up the new one from Malignant Altar, Realms of Exquisite Morbidity. Yeah, that's it. I guess I had like a completely different idea of what this was going to sound like than what it did. I like it, don't get me wrong, but I thought this was going to be like really, really dirty, nasty, and filthy. The artwork certainly is that, but this thing sounds slick, clean, really, really great, bass heavy, just super well produced. The thing is, like, I can't really find any nuances to this band that really set them apart from the flock. This is great death metal, modern death metal, but like it's just not amazing like some other bands are doing. It's great. I really listened to it for, I don't know, 3 or 4 days or so, and I will probably spin it again and again and again, but you know, it's not mind-blowing like I expected it to be. So let's just move on. I hope this isn't a video like just full of stinkers. I put Trouble in this video because I really have been dying to like rave about Trouble. So I also picked up this, has been my wish list for years, Belenos, L'ancient Temps. So this is a 2 CD set. It's a reissue of a couple of their demos. Man, this is one of the shittier digipacks I've got in my collection. So they come in these little plastic sleeves inside, and then you get this booklet. And ordinarily I like a demo compilation because it kind of like catches me up to their debut, but this is not that. It's 2 discs. You'd think they would have followed through with that, getting all the demos compiled onto 2 discs, but it's not. I remember having listened to this probably 10 years ago now or so, and really liking some of the demos on here. I don't remember which one there were, but some of this stuff dates back to 96, 97, 98, 2000. So just a span of 4 years. But like, I absolutely love Bellanos. They are one of the best folky, pagan, Vikingish metal bands there are. And this is a solo project. I can't stress this enough. This is amazing material, all written by one dude. He's got a live band, of course. But so Sacral Productions put this guy out. It's not like super expensive, but you just don't come across this very often. And I think in the past, when I have come across this, it's been maybe a little too pricey. Also, I think I got this in the States, which is kind of hard to come by. Are you having this problem like me, where like you'll find that you want some kind of old-ish release, and there's 15 copies of it out in Europe or elsewhere, and there's none in the States? My partner always says it's just because I have like exquisite taste in metal, but like it's frustrating. And I love that like the euro has now like dipped below the dollar, so like I can kind of rethink my pricing on things, but still got to pay like out the ass for shipping on things. But Bellanos, totally different topic. Bellanos are great. So this is a weird one. This is going to be a hard sell for most of you. If you were not already a fan of Pensées Nocturnes, I don't know what to tell you. I loved their last album, and this new one, Douce Fang, I don't know. I love fake French more than I do real French. Is a trip further down the road that these guys have been going down for years now. I won't beat around the bush. This is clown circus black metal from France. That is an unabashed, unabandonable label that they have put on themselves, and they are running with it. The guys perform in clown makeup and costumes, and it's kind of funny, but the music absolutely rips. It's amazing. And this new album is no slouch. I really can't believe that they keep on pulling off, going down this rabbit hole of circus black metal further and further and further. Artwork is kind of cheesy. It's kind of like a lot of old circus ads here and there with some tongue-in-cheek sort of Photoshop jobs here and there. A lot of probably French jokes that I don't get, but there's some riffs on here that are very, very forward-thinking. And like I've tried to think like, would this be this good if they weren't leaning really hard into the clown gimmick? And I don't know, like I would probably like it, but I'm not sure if I would ordinarily like come across something like this if it weren't so different and so bizarre. So I don't know if that sounds interesting to you. It's there's times where it's absolutely raging fast, insanely weird black metal. Very palatable. It's not all that ordinary. It's not out of the ordinary, like musically, I guess I would say. I don't know how to put it. It's not like they're doing crazy avant-garde kind of things. It's very, very discernible guitars, vocals, drums, bass, and all that, etc. But there's just some riffing that is just absolutely wild. I love the different, dissonant kind of scrunky craziness going on. And the vocalist is bananas. The dude has spilled every last marble out on the floor, and I love it. His performance on this thing is out of this fucking world. Great album. I think this is a 2022 release, and that's probably going to go in the top 10 for me. And last but not least, we have what's going on in the background. This is Anatomia's Corporeal Torment. Japanese death doom band. Real heavy on the doom. The first 2 tracks so far are abysmal, mournful, funereal doom passages. It's great. But there's times when they'll alternate into a more chunky, heavy death metal kind of part. This one, the first half of the album is very, very chasmic, huge, and slow sounding, as I'm sure you've heard. But then toward the end of the album, it kind of picks up, which is very unexpected and different. I was very, very fascinated by these guys for several months, and wound up picking up a couple of their releases. That reminds me, I have the Undergang Split sitting over here for like a month or 2, and I haven't even played it. I have been buying so much garbage, and I literally have probably another 4 collection updates worth of videos to shoot. So I don't know, I feel like a lot of you guys probably know these guys. I'm a little bit of a latecomer to Anatomia. They've been around for maybe 20 years or so, but they're great. This is super good. It's just, I love how ungimmicky it is. It's just gross, slow, disgusting, dripping, morbid death metal with a ton of doom smattered all over the place. It's so good. That's why I keep coming back. So there's 10. There's another 10. Sayonara. Woohoo! That was a great video. And it was made possible mostly by me, but also thanks to the never-ending, undying love and support of my Patreon subscribers, some of whom are... If you would like to be a part of supporting my channel and encouraging me to make more content that's as good as the one you just watched, join the Patreon. It's $6.66 a month, and I would appreciate your support. Thanks for watching either way.